Hi, my name is Jesse, and in this video I'll be demonstrating my contacts API project. So in the video I'll be going through a few things. I'll show my API endpoints, my MongoDB database connections, my deployment on render, and how I was able to secure my sensitive information, and also maybe briefly explain my project architecture. So I'll start off by opening up my repository here, which contains my project, and we can see that it follows a simple MVC style pattern or architecture. You can see that I've separated my responsibilities really well. The routes have their own separate folder here. I have the server.js as the main entry point of my application, and I also have my database here. So I've separated my responsibilities well there. So we can start off by inspecting our server.js file here. We can see that I initialized Express here. I loaded my necessary middleware, and I also have my connections here to my MongoDB database, and also I've registered my routes here. So next we can look at the routes folder, one that deals with the routing. So it contains my contacts.js file, and this contacts.js file is the one with the contact API endpoints. Yes, simply that. Then I'll go ahead and also show you my MongoDB.js file, which is responsible for my MongoDB database connection and also being able to reuse it. So I'll also go ahead and show you my .gitignore file. So this file contains my node modules and the .env file. So the .env file is the one that I've used to store my sensitive information or my credentials. In this case, that is the MongoDB connection string, and I've made sure that both the .env file and the node modules are excluded from GitHub using the .gitignore. Then another thing I maybe want to take you through is the REST client. I've used the REST client extension in VS Code to test my API endpoints before deployment to production or deployment to render. So we can go ahead and test these endpoints. So if I click on send request, this is to confirm that my API is running well, and it does so. And if we test the second one, so this, if I click on send request, it sends a get request to my API, and the API returns, or it queries the data from the MongoDB database and returns it as a JSON file. It returns the documents as a JSON file here. So it returns all the contacts as a JSON file. Then also, if I want to test this one also, which queries the database for a single contact by its object ID, I'm also able to do that and returns a single contact based on its object ID. So it also works well. I can also go ahead and show you my MongoDB Atlas. So this is the one that this is my collection in Atlas that contains my documents here. So this is the data that gets retrieved by the API endpoints we've looked at, and this shows that my API is not using hard-coded data. So it's actually getting this data from the database really well. And the other thing, lastly, maybe I can show you that my API is successfully deployed to render, and we can also test these APIs still in the browser and see if they work well. So if I open up this, just to show you that my contact API is running well, just give it maybe a few seconds to load up. So the contact API is running really well here. And if I want to retrieve all contacts from my MongoDB database, I'm able to do that. And also if I want to retrieve a single contact basing on its object ID, I'm also able to do that. So that goes on to show that my project is organized very well in an MVC style pattern. My sensitive information is excluded from GitHub, and my API endpoints are working very well. Thanks for watching.